Welcome back. Conflicts and perspectives. In this lesson, you'll learn how to listen to and consider someone else's perspective during a conflict, which is, I'm telling you now, not easy. So let's take a look. Think and share. What did the last lesson explain about managing emotions during a conflict? Take a moment to just scratch your chin for 30 seconds and to think, what did the last lesson explain about managing emotions during a conflict? Maybe the pictures are clues. Please do so now. Hope you had a good think. All right, now, what did the last lesson explain about managing emotions during a conflict? The lesson showed that emotion management strategies like slow breathing can help you to avoid escalating a conflict. So let's go ahead and write that down in our notebooks here. You've got your name. My name happens to be first name, Mr. Last name Surface. And now I'm going to write down number one. And number one is going to be, what did the last lesson explain? And the last lesson explained, we can use emotion management strategies like slow breathing. All right, so we can use emotion management strategies. Was there a moment today where your emotions seemed to get the better of you? Right? That's essentially why we're doing this, right? Why are we learning this? Because our emotions are going to get there before our reason does. So we have to figure out ways to slow down our emotions first before they start to shape our lives in ways that are tough to fix later. So, emotion management strategies. So, today, we're going to think and share. Imagine you know this person from one of your classes and she's walking towards you. What do you think she's going to do? Take a moment and just think for 30 seconds. What does it look like she's about to do? Jumping to conclusions about another person's perspective is a common reason that conflicts escalate. What if you knew she's worried about an assignment and wants your help? Now, what do you think she's going to do? Right? Perspective matters. Yo, I'm about to fail this test versus yo, we're about to, have a karate fight. Right? Two different, very different things, and you wouldn't really know. So, perspective and perspective taking. There's a difference between perspective and perspective taking. All right, first, let's write down these two terms, perspective versus perspective taking. All right, that'll be our number two. Number two, perspective versus perspective hyphen taking. All right, number three, perspective. A perspective is how a person thinks or feels about something based on experience or personal preference, right? So, how someone thinks or feels. How someone thinks or feels. Let's put that underneath perspective. How someone thinks or feels. Okay. And then perspective taking is the process of being able to identify and understand another person's feelings, thoughts, needs, and wants. Perspective taking, I think emphasis in our notes could just be like, then this would go underneath perspective taking. How others, right? In fact, let's underline it. How others think and feel. And that'll go underneath perspective taking. Number three for real. Jumping to conclusions. Frankie is leaving the girls' bathroom when she hears Roy say her name. All his friends start laughing immediately. She's really upset. Why are they laughing at me, she thinks. Frankie thinks the boys are laughing at her. Is she jumping to conclusions? Why or why not? First, is she jumping to conclusions? Why or why not? Give a thumb in the air pointing up, thumbs up if you think she is jumping to conclusions, or a thumbs down if she's not jumping to conclusions. She knows precisely what's going on. Take a moment, thumbs up or thumbs down. Let's find out the answer. Yes, she's jumping to conclusions. She doesn't know why the boys are laughing. When you don't have enough information, it helps to keep an open mind. What else might explain why they're all laughing? What really could have happened? Why would they be laughing? Take a moment. Well, Roy told his friends he wanted to ask Frankie to a dance. They laughed because they don't think he has the nerve to ask her. So they were talking about her, but in this case, it was complimentary. Andre and Dennis play a game online once a week. Dennis hasn't logged on in 2 weeks and hasn't texted to say why. He's blowing me off, Andre thinks. He doesn't want to play anymore and doesn't want to tell me. Andre sends Dennis an angry text message. How could Andre reframe the situation? How could Andre think a little bit differently about this? Take a moment and think. Well, some possible answers include I don't know what's going on for him. Maybe he's busy. It's no big deal. I know he likes playing the video game with me. So those are some possible alternatives. Let's try this one. What are some good things Andre could notice and say about himself or about this friendship? Could say, what are some good things he could say? Well, let's get that sentence starter first. Number 3. Some good things Andre might say to himself about this situation might be. So Andre might say to himself, right? Take a moment, make sure you've got that sentence starter here. Some good things Andre might say to himself about the situation might be. Please take the time to grab that sentence starter now. All right. Possible self-talk he could do. He's been my friend a long time. We have a lot of fun together. We've been really committed to playing every week. What else might explain why Andre hasn't heard from Dennis? What could have happened that doesn't include his friend ditching him or forgetting about him? In this case, you can write for number 4, maybe Dennis, and proceed from there. What could be the situation why Dennis isn't keeping this appointment? All right? Take the time to write it down now. All right. Now, what really happened? The next time he sees Andre, Dennis explains that his parents took away his phone and his game console for 2 weeks. He had no way of telling Andre what happened because he was in trouble. Oh no, I never thought of that. So, partner activity. Brian's grade is unexpectedly low. He thinks his teacher must not like him. How could Brian reframe the situation for himself? How could Brian use positive self talk? And what else could explain the low grade? Take a moment to have a quick think about this before we write anything. All right. Take a moment now. How could Brian reframe and use self talk? And what could be some other explanations? Let's use these sentence starters. Number 5. Brian's might say. Number 6. Brian might instead. And then number 7. Making sure we get the question right. What else? The low grade might. ... So take a moment now and use those sentence starters to complete number 5, 6, and 7. Please go ahead and write that now. right. Some of the possible answers they float include Brian could think, this doesn't seem right. I need to ask about this. He could say, I've always been able to talk to my teacher before. And finally, Brian's teacher may have made a mistake entering his grade. It happens. It happens, people. Hold on to your work. So, wrap up. Think of a time when you were in a conflict and you listened to the other person's perspective. How did listening to their perspective change your thinking? How could you have listened to their perspective before the conflict escalated? That's something to think about right now. While you think, please make sure that you have your name and you've completed this 1 through 7. Good job, everybody.